Hello, algebra students. Mr. Lawrence here, and I hope you're watching this, Miss Slivka, because this is going to help you get ready for the test. Are you paying attention, Nick? Good. Bring your A game, man. Come on. Good way to do those push-ups this morning. All right, here we go. We're going to graph some parabolas. Now, remember, we need to know the quadratic formula by heart. X equals negative of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. What's that, Boyana? Did I miss my calling as a singer? Oh, you're so sweet. All right. Remember, I like to find the discriminant first. It tells me how many zeros there are going to be. So I'm going to go A, B, C. Easy as 9, negative 4, 2. So I'm going to go looking for the discriminant, and the discriminant is the part of the quadratic formula that is under the radical symbol or the square root symbol. So let's do it. We've got b squared minus 4ac. So I'm going to do negative 4 squared minus 4 times a times c. I'm wondering if I'm going to get a negative here. I think I am. I'm going to get 16 minus 72. That's going to be a negative 56. There are no zeros. Should I stop, Mr. Turchek? Absolutely not. No, of course not. It just means it's not going to cross the x-axis. Now I know it's going to open upward, so I'm going to go find my vertex. How did I know it's going to go open upward? Well, immediately can tell us that a is positive, right? So the parabola opens upward. So I'm going to go find my vertex. And to find my vertex, I use this part of the quadratic formula, right? So I go x equals the negative of b over 2a, which would be 18 because a is 9, which ends up being 2/9, right? And now to find the y-coordinate of my vertex, and I can make a little table here to organize my work, or my answers, I should say. To find the y-coordinate, I'm going to plug 2/9 in for x. All right, and when I do that, I'm going to get y equals 9 times 2/9 squared minus 4 times 2/9 plus 2. And so I'm going to get 9 times 4/81, which is going to simplify, right, to 1/9. So this part is actually just 4/9. Okay, so y equals 4/9. I have to do the rest of the problem, and it looks like I'm going to have minus 8/9. And there it is again. I don't know if you've noticed me talking to Colin about this in these videos, that this number tends to be half of that number. Yeah, very often. So y is going to equal negative 4/9 plus 2, which means y would equal 1 5/9. All right, so my vertex occurs at 2/9, 1 5/9. That's the y-coordinate. So let me see if I can graph that. 2/9, it's going to be here, and 1 5/9 is going to be right about halfway, not quite halfway, maybe over a little bit more. Yeah, something like that. Okay, now for my other 2 points, since it's not going to have any roots, I'm going to plug 0 in for x, and then I'm going to plug a number that's the same distance away from 2/9 on the other side, which would be 4/9. And if I put 0 into my equation, I think I'm going to get 2 out, right? And then when I plug 4/9 in, because of symmetry, I have to get 2 as well. So I'm going to go 0, 2, and then 4/9. And now I can draw my parabola. And it's going to do something like that, kind of bunched up. All right, so there is a parabola with no solutions or no zeros. How did I know it had no zeros? Because my discriminant ended up being a negative number, less than 0. I expect you to know that. Here comes another parabola. Let's go check the discriminant. So we'll go A, B, C. Easy as 35. Oop, I missed a square there. Minus 4, minus 4. So to do the discriminant, I'm going to do negative 4 squared minus 4 times 35 times negative 4. And I don't believe that that is going to be a negative. I believe we're going to get a positive answer here because a negative times a negative. Let me see, 35 let me just do it this way. 35 doubled is 70. Doubled again is 140. Doubling that, I get 280. And doubling that, I get 560. So plus 560. And so I'm going to get 576 for my discriminant. You know, I think that's a perfect square. I'm going to check it on my calculator real quick. Let me see here. 576. Sure is. Very good. So now that I know there are two zeros, I'm going to go ahead and find them. I'm going to use the quadratic formula to find them. So I'm going to go x equals the negative of b plus or minus the square root of the discriminant all over 2a. And so then x is going to equal 4 plus or minus 24 over 70. And so I'm going to get 28 over 70, right? That's going to be one solution for x. And then the other solution for x is going to be 20, negative 20 over 70. Well, negative 20 over 70 is negative 2/7. If I divide both of these by 7, I'm going to get 4/10, which is better said as 2/5. So my zeros are going to occur at negative 2/7, so right around there, and then 2/5, which is a little bit less than halfway. All right, now I can't just stick 0 in. I've got to go find the vertex. So to find the vertex, I'm going to need the negative of b over 2a, which is 70, which is 1/35. Wow, that's very strange. All right, so I'm going to go y equals, I'm feeling like I have a mistake here, but I don't think I do. Negative of b plus or minus b squared minus 40c over 2a. No, I think this is good. All right, so I'm going to have 35. Oh yeah, that's not too bad. 1 over 35 squared minus 4 times 1 over 35, and then minus 4. Okay, so this would be like 1/35, I think. Yeah, this part here is going to simplify to 1/35, and this is going to simplify to 4/35, and now it's going to end up being negative 3/35, and that will equal negative 4 3/35. Okay, so about 4 1/12, approximately. So negative 4, okay, so something like that. And then you'll forgive me for the parabola drawing. Again, a very skinny parabola here. Okay, so now we've done two parabolas. One had no zeros. This one has two zeros. Wonder if this third one will have 1 0. Let's find out. Hey, I noticed something right off the bat. You see a is negative? This parabola is opening downward. Yeah, doesn't matter. I'm still going to go look for the discriminant. So I'm going to do b squared minus 4ac. That'll be 900. That's 100. That's 900. Positive 900, right? Oh, negative 900. Yeah, there we go. And that equals 0. Since my discriminant equals 0, there's one solution. There's one root. What is that root? It's the vertex. So I'm going to go find the vertex. And I'm going to get the negative of b over 2a, which is going to be negative 50, right? Yeah, which is 3/5. So the vertex is going to occur at 3/5. So 3/5. Okay, and I'm going to plug 3/5 in. So I'm going to get y equals negative 25 times 3/5 squared plus 30 times 3/5, and that'll be minus 9. And so, let's see, it's going to be 25. That's going to be a negative 3 there. No, it's going to be a negative 9, excuse me. So I'm going to get a negative 9. Y equals negative 9 plus 18 minus 9. Oh, silly Mr. Lawrence. Of course it had to be 0 because there's only one 0 and it is the vertex. So 3/5 0 might be right about there. Now in my table, I'm going to put 0 in for x, and I'll put 1 1/5 in for x. So when I put 0 in for x, I get negative 9 out. When I put in 1 1/5, I should also get negative 9. All right. So that'll be here, and then maybe there. Something like that. And so my parabola is going to be real long and skinny again, like that one. And I know it's not drawing the best of. I still haven't gotten good at it after all these years with the airline. It's very difficult to do. Hopefully you can strive to get a shape that is very much like that. Okay, so let's see what else we got. We got completing the square. That's our new thing. Remember, we want a to equal 1. And then problem a does equal 1. So the first thing I'll do is add 9 to both sides. And when I do that, I'm going to get x squared plus 7x plus blank equals 9 plus blank. All right, half of 7 is 7 halves. 7 halves squared is 49 fourths. So I'm going to add 49 fourths to both sides. This will factor real nicely as this. Not a coincidence that that 7 halves is right there. And over here on this side, how many fourths is that? Well, that should be, what, 36 fourths? Okay, and so that'll be 70, 85. 85 fourths. I'm going to take the square root of each side to undo that exponent. Remember, I like to do it like that. And so I'll get x plus 7 halves equals plus or minus the square root of 85 over 2. Almost there. So x is going to equal negative 7 over 2 plus or minus the square root of 85 over 2, or better yet, negative 7 plus or minus square root of 85 over 2, like that. And now I'll go get my decimal approximations. That is the exact answer. And here comes my approximate answers. So let me see here. Negative 7 plus square root of 85. And I'm going to divide it by 2. So I'm going to get approximately 1 in 11 hundredths. And then when I do negative 7 minus square root of 85 divided by 2, I'm going to get approximately negative 8 in 11 hundredths. And there you go. All right, so I just solved by completing the square. Okay, now in the situation B, A is not 1, so I'm going to divide to make A 1. And so I'll divide by 4, but I have to distribute it. And if you want to show it here, you go right ahead. When I do that, I'm going to get x squared plus 5 fourths x. And I'm going to go ahead and take this over to the other side. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it as 10 fourths right now. Okay, I'm not going to simplify it. I might simplify it in a minute, but right now I'm going to leave it the same. Now I need half of that, which would be, what, 5/8? And then squared would be 25 64ths. So that'd be 25 64ths being added to both sides. So this is now a perfect square trinomial, and it'll factor as x plus 5/8 squared. Had this been negative, there would be a negative here. Had this plus been negative, this would be a negative. All right. Excuse me. Now let's see, 4 cubes would be times 16, so I think that's going to be 160 fourths. And so my numerator is going to become 185 64ths. Now I'll take the square root of that side and of the right-hand side. I don't believe 185 is a perfect square, and so I'm going to get x plus 5/8, and that's going to equal plus or minus square root of 185 over 8. And so x is going to equal negative 5 plus or minus square root of 185 over 8. And yeah, I skipped that step. I skipped this step right here. I went right to that. So now I'll go to my calculator and get the decimal approximations. I get -5 plus square root of 185 divided by 8. And we get about 1 800ths. I'm rounding to the hundredths place. And then when I subtract in my numerator, I get about -2 3/300ths. Okay, moving right along. All right, vertical motion problem. I gave you that equation right there. I expect you to know that. Okay, a ball is thrown upward with an initial velocity of 55 feet per second. The ball starts 4 feet above the ground. How high will the ball go? When will it reach its max height? At what times will the ball be 30 feet above the ground? When will the ball return to the ground? Well, I'm going to make some little notes here. How high will it go? That's the y coordinate of the vertex. When will the ball reach its max height? That's the x coordinate of the vertex. So I might actually do B before I do A. At what time will the ball reach height be 30 feet above the ground? That's when I make h equal to 30. When will the ball return to the ground? That's when h will equal 0. Okay, and on these two, I'll use the quadratic formula. All right, so what do we got here? 55 feet per second, so we're going to have h equals -16 t squared plus 55t, starting 4 feet above the ground, plus 4. All right, first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and find the vertex. So this will be part B actually first. So this will be part B. X is going to be equal to -b over 2a. And it's not going to simplify pretty. I'll go -55 divided by -32. -55 divided by -32. And I'm going to get 1.7875. So I'm not going to round that. I'm going to let the calculator do the calculations with it. To find the y coordinate of the vertex, I'm going to get, so this is the time here. This would be seconds. Okay, so now I'm doing part A. And I do part A by substituting in this number in for t. That's 55.7187 plus 4. All right, so h is going to equal, and I'm going to go to my calculator, -16.7187 squared plus 55 times 1.7187 plus 4. All right, so it looks like the height is going to be about 51.27 feet off the ground. All right, now to know when it's, what is it, 30 feet above the ground? Yeah, 30 feet above the ground. So now I'm going to do part C. And I'm going to make h 30, 55t plus 4. I'll get it equal to 0. You could complete the square on this. It doesn't look very friendly. I don't think I'd recommend it, but you could. So I'm going to subtract 30 from both sides. And I'm going to get 0 equals -16t squared plus 55t minus 26. And now I'm going to go to the quadratic formula. I'm not going to worry about finding the discriminant per se, because I know it's going to have 2 zeros, one of which will be negative. And I don't care about the negative one. So x is going to equal the negative of b plus or minus square root of 55 squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Sorry, that looks pretty bad there. All right, negative 32. Okay, so negative 55 plus or minus. I better figure out that discriminant just to make my work a little bit simpler. So I'm going to go 55 squared minus 4 times negative 16 times negative 26, which is going to be 1,361. That's over negative 32. And so we're going to go negative 55 plus 361 divided by negative 32. And there's my positive answer. And that bothers me. Oh, no, that's okay. Oh, one's not going to be negative. Silly me. Sorry. X is going to be approximately 0.57 seconds. So that'll be shortly after it's thrown, and that makes sense because they got the ball starting here. It's going to get thrown up like that, and it's going to go up 26 feet pretty quick to a height of 30 feet, starting at 4. Okay, and then the other time will be here. Yeah, let me see what that's going to be. Oh, and that's going to be about 2.87 seconds. And I think I like that. You know, what happens if I average 0.57 plus 2.87, divide that by 2, divide by 2, and I get 1 72 hundredths. And look at this. If I round that, I get 1 72 hundredths, don't I? Yeah. Okay, so I'm off a little bit because I rounded, but it's pretty darn close. Okay, so if I round this to the nearest hundredth place, that would be 1 72 hundredths, wouldn't it? Okay, so I average those to get my vertex, just to check my work. All right, part D is the same thing except h is 0. And so we have negative 16t squared plus 55t plus 4. And so we're going to get x equals, or it should be t equals, I guess, negative 55 plus or minus. And I'm going to go ahead and just figure out the discriminant and put it in there. So we have 55 squared minus 4 is negative 16 times 4. And that's going to be 3,281 divided by negative 32. So now I can go negative 55 plus the square root of 3281 divided by negative 32. And I get the negative time, which I'm not interested in because that's before it's in their hand. And then minus gets me about, or t would be about 3.51 hundredths seconds. There you go. All right, I think I got one last problem for you, and then, oop, did I miss it? Maybe it's down at the bottom here. Let's see. I could have swore I had one more problem ready to go. I don't see anything else. All right, so I guess we're going to call it there. Oh, by the way, I do want to mention if the object is falling, then v sub 0 is 0, right? Okay, that's it for your review video. Hopefully some of you are planning on coming in for help. Mr. Lawrence, signing off. Good night.